So you're telling me you don't ever just roll the windows down and throw on the Rocky IV soundtrack and ride down the road?
I do have it on cassette, but I no longer have a cassette player in my truck. I do not have it on CD, but I'm sure I burned it on a CD somewhere. Because right now in the truck, I am listening to CDs that I burned back in the day. Right now it says NY13, which means I took Seth on a trip in 2013.
Yeah.
His 10-year-old trip.
Huh.
And it has been a blast to listen to what we were listening to because I did a song for him, and then I did a song for me, and then I did a song for him. So there's like that song Dynamite from back in the day and some Katy Perry Fireworks, whichever one. Then there'll be something more along my taste of 2013. So...
What are you listening to in 2013?
I don't know. I'm listening to John Mayer back then. I'm still listening to John Mayer right now. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much everything I listen to now, yeah. I get that.
But it's been fun.
Are you open to, like, figuring out a way to where you can, like, play your phone music in your truck?
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
You got that capability?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay.
Technology exists.
I got you.
Technology exists to catch us all up, whether we want to do that or not.
Yeah. Got you.
And if you go to McKay's, when was the last time you've been to McKay's?
A month ago, a month and a half.
Okay. That little section, like they've just got cords. You need a cord, an aux cord. They just have cords, man. So if you're ever missing anything, just go to McKay's and go,
yeah,
I got this thing that I used to have, but I no longer have. You got one? And they'll be like, let me check. And I usually do. So yeah, I'm good.
I've never noticed that section, I don't guess.
Okay, where you're paying to the left, there's all that glass.
Yeah.
And then right next to that starts the countertop.
Uh-huh.
On that countertop right there.
Huh.
There you go.
That's pretty cool. Hey, we were talking outside, and you started to delve into something that's very relevant to what I wanted to talk about today. And
red-shouldered hawks.
It wasn't red-shouldered hawks.
Is that what they're called?
The red shoulder hawk.
There you go. Okay.
That's a guy that hangs around my house, yeah.
Not that.
No, not that. Where you were talking about students, and we come in contact all the time with some pretty highly capable students.
We do.
And I think it would be fair to say we come in contact with some students that even the weathered history teacher in the trenches like yourself would just go, man.
I have serious concerns for some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I did something in class recently, and I want to talk about it. But it's all built around, it's a SkillsUSA idea. Okay, so they have this framework, and they've taken and they've made this sort of they've listed out skills that it's not as simple anymore, or it's not as simple now as what it may have been at some point, where we would say, soft skills. When I say soft skills, what are the things that you think of?
I mean, your emotional intelligence, your ability to read a room, eye contact, tone of voice, listening to understand before being understood, facing up, right? Those type of skills that need reps. And when you develop that skill set, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. I have heard people say, and I have saw as I've spent some time in the last 15 years on the Facebooks, why don't they teach this in school, or why don't they teach that in school? So let this be my bringing receipts of giving this a shot, okay? SkillsUSA, it's an organization that's nationwide. It's trying to be worldwide. There is a world, international aspect to that, but mainly in the U.S. is where we...
It's a chance to travel right there, man. Where are they doing this? Where are they doing it?
The Nationals?
International.
Oh, so I don't know. I've never got that.
Somewhere where we haven't been yet?
I've never got to that
I will be a
place.
chaperone for you.
Well, if I ever win nationals, I will.
Okay. Win it, man.
We'll,
You've been second before, haven't you?
I was second at national. My students were second in nationals. Yeah,
You're allowed to say I.
we were.
We is better
second
answer.
at
With it.
nationals. We did a thing yesterday, and on the surface, man, it's just a scavenger hunt. Did you hear it? You heard him talk about our scavenger hunt?
Yes, because you
We
were
share
outside
some
so
students.
long and the sun was so hot. That's what I heard. The kids that had you the block before me.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, we share some students, so I know that some of that talk is leaking out. And I did have a young lady that checked her pedometer on her cell phone, and she had 8,000 steps. So,
From this activity,
yes, I mean, she has it second block.
we ain't apologizing for this.
No, I'm not apologizing at all. And she worked on some skills that would have saved her a lot of steps. And so that's the conversation that surrounds it. And it goes like, hey, what do you do when you're in a situation to where you have to work with a team? Okay, you have to work with other people because you're going to be in a lot of those situations in your life. You've already been in a lot of those situations, high schoolers that I'm talking to. What do you do when someone else's ability to work these skills or have these skills impacts the benefits that you receive? You know,
Positively or negatively. Because when you say impacts, it could go either way.
either one.
Okay.
Either one. But what I guess where I'm mainly speaking to is some of you have a great attitude. Even if it's something you're not super passionate about, you'll find it. You'll find the ability to say, hey, you know what I do right now not only impacts me, but it impacts other people. It impacts the product, whatever we're doing. So you'll find that self-motivation, and that'll get you there. But what do you do when someone in the group is just killing the whole group? How do you do that? You're just gonna fist fight this person? You're gonna confront this person? You're gonna show them the way? How do you do that? This is just
Or ignore this person. Is that an option? It is an option.
everything's an option.
Because that's usually what we witness within
Yeah.
our circles. Are just that, I'll just do the work and I'll ignore them.
Everything is an option. Because
Which
that's
means it's going to be that way the next time we're in groups.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone who I'm very close to, and this is just a side quest real quick. Someone who I'm very close to told me the other day, hey, we have an intern at work, and they're a high school student, and we're trying. They will not talk to us. They just won't speak to us unless directly ask a question. There's no, hey, what are you into? What are you interested in? What are you, nothing. Like, just can't get this person to talk to them. And it wasn't a shock to Mr. Public School Teacher Matt Paris. It didn't surprise me at all. I'll have a meeting with my advisory board for criminal justice in Bradley County tomorrow, and I meet with them twice a year. And it's everybody from Sheriff Lawson to a district attorney Hatchett. There's people from multiple agencies around here. There's parents. There's students. There's former students that are all at least tied in some way to the criminal justice field, and they lend their ear and their voice to me every year as an educator. And when I get feedback from all of those people, hey, this, young people, Sheriff Lawson, that are coming to you fresh out of the academy, what are you seeing that I could help impact or start speaking to them in high school about? And
This is this is a real talking point within this meeting.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. Hey, Stephen Hatchett, you're young lawyers, fresh out of, these are highly trained individuals. What do you see in generationally, personally, soft skills? We'll call it workplace skills, as SkillsUSA calls it. What are you seeing? And it's always the same answer from multiple people and sometimes multiple different conversations. Well, the police, a lot of them struggle with written communication. A lot of these people are struggling with written communication, not because they're dumb. It's because they need them to do technical writing, And these people have spent years in high school doing like creative writing and fluffing it up and giving all the background and all the details and all the speculation and all the things. And we
Or no writing.
possibly, very possibly,
Or no quality
writing.
writing. Because if you're going to go to that, they've only been doing creative writing. That's a skill into itself. That would lend itself to the technical writing. My theory would be they're not getting any writing that's of any substance or any feedback.
Well, it's not an only this thing. It's a both thing.
Yeah, of
Because you
course.
have Matt Paris. Matt Paris went to the police agency as a pretty good little writer. But man, for the technical writing aspect of it, it's too much. It's too much.
I hear you. I'm listening.
You know, but there is that other end of the spectrum of, hey, they just got through and they haven't written a lot.
Yeah.
They haven't written a lot.
Or they've written a lot. And I'm going to come back to this without feedback.
Yeah, that's possible.
Because if you don't have legitimate feedback to your speaking skills, to your writing skills, to your listening skills, to the, all that writing and listening and reading and speaking, man, it's not being honed. Because you keep saying skill. It's SkillsUSA. Reps, right?
Sure,
Developing something that sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other answer from multiple leaders of agencies who are employing dozens and dozens and dozens of young people, they just don't want to talk to people. They struggle to work with people. It's just a struggle. It's not this can never happen. It's life is having to teach them at this point instead of them coming to the table with, and I'm not saying they're coming with no skills, but they're struggling in some areas.
The essential skills that are necessary for that and that need to be developed as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big deal. You can go to law school. You can pass a lot of tests. You can do a lot of good writing and reading, and you get to a courtroom, and it's a people business.
Yeah.
It's a people business. You have defendants, prosecutors, judges, other lawyers. It's just, you got to be able to work with people.
Here's my side quest in this conversation.
Yeah.
Stephen Hatchett, is he local, like born and raised?
Athens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a McMinn County boy.
I've now had 5 of my 6 visitors come in.
You need him.
He should be on my list next time I invite folks. Okay.
Yeah, and you may.
Because his name has come up a couple times with my visitors and with my kids being aware. Yeah.
He is local and personable enough that if you could swing it, he probably, if you took a last minute buzzer beater, he may.
But even like all these people have wanted to come, and you could tell.
Yeah.
Mayor, sheriff, president, councilman, commissioner, and judge will be there on Friday. But because District Attorney Hatchett's name keeps coming up and you brought it up again, it is now on my radar that this is an invitation. So I'll pause one more time. Can you think of 1 or 2 or 3 other people that I should consider in this community that when we do local history and the people that really are making decisions for us, who could I invite in the room? Because you were sitting in some circles that I don't sit in. You shake hands with people that I don't shake hands with. Anybody off the top of your head?
Is this, help me frame around is this all, you want all of these people to be in some sort of local government office?
We're just doing local history.
Yeah.
But history is the moment as well, because the mayor is making history right now. And so is the sheriff. As a decision maker in a community, you are history makers.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them have a pretty good grasp on those who came before them.
Yeah.
Especially, if you're going to run for office, you're going to be like, hey, this person, I need to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
But for many of them, they can go back and back and back. And it's fascinating to see, like, where we've come from and where we are to get a glimpse of into where we're going. But these elected officials especially bring a unique perspective to, because, these are kids crafting questions for these folks. And, the one that continues to resonate is Cleveland and Bradley County doing enough for young people to stay here or at least go off to school and come back here? And think about what that means to the mayor. Think about what that means to the council and to the commission. That's significant. Can we provide stuff that you'll come back for a career because you have an opportunity, and you'll stay here and raise your kids here? So obviously there's more to that, but my question still stands. Stephen Hatchett is now on my list to invite next semester when we roll this out. Who do you think of again, right off the bat?
Well, a good contrast to Stephen Hatchett would be Leon Shahan. I mean, you would have the district attorney and the public defender. And listen, Rich Kinlan, he's campaigning right now. He's running for a county commission office, but that guy's been our probationer for like 30 years. I mean, he understands a lot of the inner workings of our local government on a criminal level. And you're talking about a guy that has had to make some deals and try to help families and hold people accountable at the same time. That's a tough job, what he's done.
Rich, huh?
And he's done it, and he's kept his nose clean. You won't find anybody in Bradley County has anything bad to say about Rich Kinlan.
So how have I known Rich all these years?
Basketball.
With the stripes on, right?
He referees basketball. Yeah.
But his daughter, Amber?
I don't know.
Had her in middle school.
I know his son, Dominic.
But he also has a son-in-law.
Okay.
Bryce Sharp.
Is Bryce Sharp his son-in-law?
If Amber is his daughter.
How did I not know that? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, there's some really cool connects going on here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And also, I go straight to, like, and this may be out of what you're trying to do, but if you wanted to talk about the housing market, the infrastructure, that's Ben Berry, man. Like, I was so interested in everything he had to say, and I can't imagine that your students wouldn't be either. I mean,
we're fascinated by him, correct me if I'm wrong, of how, I'll use this word, and in a great context, how ambitious he is. He loves this community. He's doing things in this community. But what he does, he wants to continue to do. Mm-hmm. And seemingly at a larger scale, which means councilmen and commissioners know who this guy is.
For sure.
The mayor knows who this guy is.
For sure.
Right? So it's interesting to bring in.
And he's the Main Street guy. I mean, there's your plug right there. Like,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he just knows so much.
You just rattled off 4 names real quick. I told you, man. You were one call away from the mayor.
He knows so much about how the sausage is made, man. Yeah. It's just interesting to me. It's interesting to me.
And I haven't invited Mayor Brooks, which I could certainly put him on the list as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But definitely Mayor Davis got the call first, just because we're Bradley County Schools. And
yeah.
Did I tell you that Dr. Cash came in while the mayor was here?
I think some of our shared students told me that.
Or I think I've told you. I think that I've.
You also told me as well.
This is the 3rd time I've told you.
Yeah, you also as
You're
well.
so polite to me.
Too told me.
You could just say, yes, man. It's the 3rd time you said that.
Yes.
But it was an awesome dynamic to everything we were doing in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what else you got?
Man, I'm tempted to just abandon SkillsUSA and just talk about your...
No, because we're talking about this, because you're talking about that.
Yes. So I built a little exercise, a little scavenger hunt. I don't even want to call it a scavenger hunt, but it kind of...
call it something else.
It kind of is, but it's a little more than that. We ended up calling it the Duo Verbo scavenger hunt. Duo Verbo was one of the clues. That's Latin for 2 words. So me and ChatGPT write up riddles. We have 5 locations. We have 5 locations on campus.
I like it already.
Hey, ChatGPT, I'm going to use these locations for a scavenger hunt. I want you to make each clue lead to the next location. So it writes up these little... simple for ChatGPT. These goofy little rhyming.
I need some.
I'd have to pull it up. But it makes up the clues. Let me see if I can get to that.
You got to, man. You got to feed me something. Okay, we were doing historical bio poems.
Buy me some time here.
Yeah.
Let me.
Because you said you're doing rhymes for no good reason. You don't have to give a clue that rhymes. I don't have to give a historical.
Everyone. Everyone
You told
passes.
me to buy you some time. I was about to say something.
You bought me enough.
Okay.
Everyone passes. Few really see the place where your school shows identity. But your next clue waits where life is grown behind a barrier, not freely roamed.
Where IDs are shown and a barrier.
Okay, so let's just say this.
The checkpoint right in front of the fence.
You're going to start at the front sign because I have to give you the first clue. So I give each group a different clue.
Okay.
So one of them starts at the front sign. They go there, and if they look hidden up under the sign, taped to a brick wall, they'll find this. Everyone passes. If you
Buddy,
really
this
see
is a scavenger hunt. You can't call it anything else.
the place where your school shows identity. But your next
where it
clue
shows identity. Okay, I got you.
Your next clue waits where life is grown behind a barrier, not
greenhouse.
freely. That's right. They're going to the greenhouse. Now, what you also need to see is on each clue, there was just some inconspicuous letters at the bottom. And you can see in very small font there, it says duo verba. That means nothing until you have all of it, right? But, the first direction they were given was, hey, from this point forward, everything I say is part of the game. And everything, every little detail matters. And that's how we start. So I give them just some little, hey, you're not allowed to run. You're not allowed to enter a building or a car. Every clue you find, every person in your group has to put a hand on it, and you take a selfie together with your hands on it. So speed matters. Because when we did it, I had them do a little test run for time one day. Hey, go to this location, go to that location, take a selfie with your group at that location. Well, I caught one group that had a slacker. It was just way behind. So what they started doing was giving that slacker the phone. And when everybody else would go ahead to the location, that slacker would just turn around and take a selfie with their group way off in the distance. So I had to build in a rule. You got to put your hand on it. Anyways.
Good job on the test run, though.
Yeah, so by the time they get to the end, they have 9 random letters if they've paid attention. And
I don't get any more riddles. That's it.
oh, you want more riddles? Okay.
I mean, at
hang
least
on.
give me a shot at it.
So you go to the greenhouse. That's where you were going, right? All right, here we go. Growth and care sit just behind. Protected space by design confined. But now you move where sound and steel and discarded things are all too real.
The dumpster,
Which one?
sound, and steel.
Mm-hmm.
Which dumpster?
Mm-hmm. We got a couple dumpster locations on our campus.
Yeah, we have 3 dumpster locations. The cafeteria, the band parking lot, and then behind the football field,
Yeah.
behind the field house.
Sound and steel.
Are you like country and you're saying still, but you're actually saying steel?
No, it's steel.
Okay. Sound and steel.
Yeah, you just said we have one in the band parking lot.
Sound and
Yeah,
steel.
that's the sound and steel. Hey, every group but one went right to it.
Well, I'm the slacker.
But now they also,
What's the steel part?
it's just a dumpster. They're made of steel.
Okay.
Discarded things are all too real. So there you go. You pick up another couple letters if you're paying attention. But now, would you believe that I had groups that went to all 5 locations, never collected one letter? I mean, those letters are at the bottom in giant font. First instruction, every detail matters.
Well, that's how you lose, I guess.
Yeah. All right, so you go to the band dumpster. Not every path moves straight ahead. Sometimes the trail must loop instead.
The track.
Go to where the game is played,
Football.
where bats once cracked and runs were made.
The baseball field.
We're going baseball field.
And we're putting in some steps.
We're going baseball field.
Okay.
Heading outside the gate. Now you've picked up another letter. Actually, if we're going to do this, we're doing this. Here, take this piece of paper.
I can't write on this.
Yes, you can. There's notes on the back. Those are my notes. All right, I'm going to give you the letters you have so far.
Can I get a different pen?
No.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more pens over there.
You have the following letters.
Okay.
B, O, E, N, R. All right. Now, and keep in mind that in small font beside all of those letters, it said duo verba. You found the field. Hang on, wait. No. Yeah, here we go.
You didn't write any of these rhymes?
You found the field.
This is what AI is for now? Writing rhymes?
It was today.
Okay.
You found the field that mirrors the first. Same game, new angle. No. I'm out of order here.
Softball field.
I guard the place where fastballs fly, where dirt meets cleats and crowds pass by. But your next stop shifts just out of sight. Another field, both close and alike.
Softball field?
Yeah, we're going softball field. And you picked up the letters T and D, as in David. Now you've found the field that mirrors the first. Same game, new angle, just slightly reversed. Now head where names and pride are shown. A place that stands out front, well known, and another direction was. There is no clue that says this is the end, but you'll never repeat a location twice. So you're donezo. How many letters do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
A, W. That was on your last clue. So that's it. Now you have all of the clues.
Okay.
And this is where tragedy struck.
For you as a teacher?
No.
For the students?
For the students.
Okay.
First of all, you got to deal with this thing says duo verba. What does that mean? You got to figure that out, right?
2 words. So this is 2 words.
Yeah. It's simple.
But they didn't figure that out?
This is 2. Well, some of them did.
Okay.
But even when they'd figured out, this is 2 words, and we just got to unscramble these things. They went straight to ChatGPT. Nope. Wouldn't do it. Could not get it. ChatGPT was no help. It tried.
It tried to take these letters and put it into 2 words, and it couldn't?
That's right.
No way.
They couldn't put them into the right 2 words.
No way.
I swear, Paul. I tested this the day.
Even if you change the prompt and change the prompt again, or just add.
Well, I'm not saying they're good at ChatGPT. I'm just saying they couldn't.
Oh, I'm trying to give ChatGPT the benefit of the doubt that it can do this.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too. I did a test run when I was printing all these materials and prepping for this. I had a student who's pretty sharp, because I didn't want it to be the easiest thing in the world. But I walked them through. It was a student and a library aide, or a library assistant. And I did a table talk just like I'm doing with you. They were easily able to find all the clues. And then they got to there, and they had a piece of paper and a pencil in front of them. And the student, within about 4 minutes, figured it out.
But ChatGPT couldn't figure it out?
But the kids out in the parking lot, relying on ChatGPT on their phone, they just couldn't hack it. There were 2 groups in the whole day that figured it out. But that didn't bother me any. Should that have bothered me?
No.
I liked it.
Yeah. It may have bothered you. Would it have bothered you if nobody figured it out?
Well, I would have took a little more responsibility if nobody figures this out.
Yeah.
Like I would have thought, man, I kind of dropped the ball on this. I made it a little too tough. Another direction they were given was, once you solve, you put your hands on the prize and take another selfie, just like you did with the clues. But they were told this way before. They didn't know what solve meant. You know what I mean? So there's scavenger hunt to this, but there's a little bit of escape room to this. Not a great amount, but a little bit.
Have you been to an escape room yet?
No, but everybody I know tells me I need to.
Yeah, why have I not, me personally, taken you one?
I don't know.
I'll let you down. I apologize. Especially if you're creating stuff like this.
This was fun, man. I don't think any reasonable student of mine would tell you this wasn't fun. I think they had a good time. Now, I tried to throw the students a bone. Some of the students that couldn't get this, I tried to throw them a bone, and I would say, hey, this is going to test your knowledge of your campus and your ability to really identify what your school's identity is or has been.
Huh.
I was trying to speak cryptically, and that's what I came up with. But this is a very Walker Valley thing. I mean, it's on our campus.
And it's the prize?
Prize is a weird word.
The destination?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I need more clues.
Over 25 years,
Yeah.
if I said, hey, Walker Valley as a whole, give me the top 5 words. When you think Walker Valley identity, give me the top 5.
But it's a 2-word answer.
Just follow my prompt. I'm trying to help you here.
Is it on the crest?
You just proved that I know nothing about our crest.
Okay, first of all, I won't tell Jeremy Jones, or I might, but I might tell Doris Manning, who created this very coin right here that only has 4 things on it.
Let me see it.
Therefore, I mean, no, that's not helping. Is that helping at all?
The crest does not help you. No, but just answer my question.
Okay.
Walker Valley identity over 25 years. Give me the top 5 words.
Band.
Boom.
Okay.
Now it's donezo. You get that, you got it.
Band, and I'm left with O and E and R and T and W.
And you already know it's something you can put your hands on.
The band tower.
That's right. Yeah. It's a band tower.
How'd you come up with that? How's that a prize?
Well, the prize was those 4 students in that level 3 class who won.
Yeah.
They now have a magical 100 in their hand, and they can spend that 100 on any semester grade, barring their final exam. That's that's pretty high currency, man.
Yeah. Cool. That's fun.
Now,
Yeah. I mean, I tell you how much love I gave to the band when I was telling the story in front of everybody on that luncheon day. I just couldn't help it, man. I've thought about the band for so long. And this is even before we ran a basketball program for 2 years. It was coaching for 8 years, but it was also teaching there for 10 years, discovering that, what they started from the beginning is still going to today. And I couldn't help but think, man, if we're going to tell this story, we have to tell the band story. What's the band's motto that ends up on almost everything?
all of us, all the time.
I love that. I wish that was on every Walker Valley.
I learned that on the Downright Mindful podcast.
But I mean, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I do too. That's pretty cool. I wonder where they got it. They just making this up, or did they steal this from somewhere?
It doesn't matter. They've owned it from the beginning.
Yeah. I
Alan
wasn't saying
Hunt,
it in like a
Tanner
negative
Hunt,
way.
everybody. No, I didn't take it as such. I don't know if that's a, BG still ends up on hats. And I mean, Brian's youngest has graduated now from Walker Valley. And do kids even know who BG is, even though his initials end up on stuff? Mm-hmm. Did he come up with it? I don't know. I'm going to find out this week.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So let me reference you back to the SkillsUSA framework that I was talking about a minute ago. So SkillsUSA defines personal skills as integrity, work ethic, professionalism, responsibility, adaptability, and flexibility. self-motivation. And then down under workplace skills, you have communication, decision-making, teamwork, multicultural sensitivity and awareness, planning, organization, and management, and then leadership. That's the conversation that we have going into this thing, because these are kids who often we go on walks and they stand witness to, you always have a couple that just, I don't want to walk around the bit. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah, you do, because you go on walks. I forgot to tell you the starting of all this, how I split teams. During this conversation, I say to my group, hey, if you see yourself as that person who, even if you're not super passionate about something, you can find a good attitude, and you can, for the best of the group, you can give your best effort, all that. I want you on that side of the room. Hey, if you're a person who struggles in that, and you'd be honest with yourself and say, sometimes I'm not a good teammate, I want you on that side of the room. And I want you to rank yourselves. And that's all I'm saying. Just rank yourselves. And they did. They just got in line.
Hey, it's an exercise in self-awareness.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, integrity was the first word that you just said.
Yeah. Well, so what I did was, now there were a couple people that just, you have the good ones who try to undersell themselves, right? And then you have some people that try to oversell themselves. So sometimes it would be hey, really, really good, one of the best students in our school who always has a positive attitude and everything. Why did you put yourself in the middle of the line? And they, in their humility, they go, okay, I'll move down. But at the end, I take the top 5 on the best side who've ranked themselves as that person. And that's the team captains, and they have to pick.
Yeah, that's good.
Starting from the bottom. So it just diversified those groups based on the way people saw themselves in that regard. I was trying to get one of those, I don't want to walk around the building kids in every group, and I believe I did, to create opportunities where those kids because some of these kids, man, they wanted to win. They need that 100. They need it. We wrote reflections today, and one of the first ones I looked at was like, man, Mr. Parrish, you prompted me to write about my motivation. I wanted to win. I wanted that 100. And the trick became, now without the teacher breathing down your neck and knowing that the teacher would never approve of you being mean to somebody, how do you motivate that person that doesn't want to walk 6,000 steps? Because that was about the average, 5,500 to 6,000. The 8,000 person, they got to the end and realized those letters meant something, and we can't see them in our photos. So they divided and conquered, and they went all around again. Another prompt, hey, you can't win without a school ID on, everybody. The group that ended up winning first block, they get to the band tower, and I said, hey, buddy, I won't say his name. I didn't call him buddy. Where's your ID? And he looks down. He had on a temporary ID, and he no longer had on a temporary ID. There's the adversity. They had to figure that out.
Yeah.
And they backtracked, and they ran, and they communicated, and they found that ID and was still able to skate in there and win. But
that's funny.
I could do something like that every day. I love putting kids in situations where I can't help you. Yes, I can help you. If you're in danger, if you're not safe, I can help you. Had a kid come to me, hey, this person's not doing this person's not doing that. And I said, hey, if I come over there and rescue you, I'm hurting you, I feel like. This whole exercise is built for you to sort of be thrown in the deep end where you can't drown, because this is public high school and you're safe, you're okay. But I'm going to help you by telling you to go figure it out. Go figure it out.
Yeah.
I love those kind of things, man.
That's a teaching skill, coaching skill, it's a parenting skill, but it leads back with the intent, I believe it with my whole heart, to self-motivation. That's where we've got to get kids to. because, I mean, I remember being yelled at by a coach.
Yeah.
I was coach motivated. I remember getting that look by a teacher, kind of disappointment. You know you can do better. And being teacher motivated. I knew that consequence would come if I didn't do what I was told to do at home. I was parent motivated.
Uh-huh.
I remember being in those social circles of being like, what's who I consider the cool kid in this group doing? I want to make sure I'm doing that.
Sure.
But man, there was just something really liberating about finding a place in time to be comfortable in our own skin. Gosh, what a revelation, to where you're like truly self-motivated. Changes everything. And I think it has a lot to do with, you get finally connected to your own interests, but when you're not connected to anything that you're interested in, but you are a part of this and you ain't getting out, family's a good place to practice this. But even what you're saying, I mean, like, you just got to figure it out. You got to be one of those 5 that are like, yeah, I don't know. I just choose to bring a little bit more light to whatever's going on, and I'm not going to be the one who brings us down. Yeah, I'd like to, the sociologist within me would like to sit those 5 down in a small group and say, hey, how did you develop that? Is it kind of natural in your disposition? But I would probably ask them, hey, reflect a little bit. Somewhere along the way, things got hard enough for you to have to make a decision about your attitude. How did you arrive at I'm going to be that person that uplifts and encourages, isn't going to complain, isn't going to blame. And, sometimes our complaints are legitimate. I remind young people of that.
Yeah.
I remind myself of that. Sometimes, I mean, you really could blame someone and no one would blame you for blaming them. That's the thing. It didn't do any good. It didn't resolve anything. And so there's just another way, another skill. And if that's what SkillsUSA is doing and that's what criminal justice is doing, I like it, man.
Well, it was something that I thought it would go okay, and I really, everything I know is the things that I don't know that worry me. But with everything I know about it, just a day on the other side of it, it went really well.
Yeah.
Now, whether any kid got the revelation of, oh, I did this, but I should have been doing this, it's hard to say yet. I haven't read through all their reflections, and you don't get to see that stuff in real time sometimes. But I do believe that most of them were put in a position to where they had to work together with some other people to accomplish things that, compared to their normal everyday class, was a tough thing to do. And a lot of them, now, even I've said only 2 groups solved, but a lot of groups were getting there. You know what I mean? A lot of groups got, God love them, a lot of groups got to that word scramble, and that word scramble may be harder than I thought it was.
Well, you gave me help. I mean, I got there because you helped me. Could I have gotten there? I don't know. I like word games for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is a word scramble the answer long term if I to repeat something like this, which I will? I don't know. That this is something that I could definitely see me molding and shaping into something a little more competitive, because that's one thing it wasn't. It was competitive, but there comes a time in the class block that I think I could see it on some of those kids' faces, and thank God. I'll tell you one thing I'm proud of is they never gave up. I knew with the look on their face that they knew they couldn't win, but they surprisingly kept going.
Yeah.
And I was proud of that for sure.
Yeah. Well, this has so many escape game elements to it. You need to go to Breakout, my friend, and you probably need to play a couple games, and you need to steal some elements.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool for sure. But I, in conversation with a student today, hey, this happened and that happened, and I'm trying to talk to my friend about this, and they're just not getting it. And in my mind, I kept thinking, just life will teach these people, and I hate that. I hate that as an attitude. I hate that as a thing. But sometimes that's what it is. But anywhere that I can put together a microcosm of what life brings, that I want to do that. I want to do that. I believe it is part of police training. I believe it's part of just workplace training. And I think there are plenty, I think it's I think it's something that I can easily find growth to be had amongst our students when it comes to, communicating with their peers, doing something hard, even because there's some kids, they loved it. They loved being outside of it. There were some kids, they did not love it.
Well, you just summed up public education.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
And I had that conversation with somebody today who was a great mentor of mine and teaches at a private institution, and it's connected with a particular affiliation. And it's a different experience than the public high school setting that we have. And and I teach future teachers. Mm-hmm. And when you discover that, some of them have a public high school background, mm-hmm. some of them come from private schools, some large, some really small. And it seems like I always have, one or more who come from a homeschool experience. And some of them K-12 homeschool. Some of them 6-12 homeschool. Some of them K-8 homeschool, and then they had, a high school experience. But, man, you take some of these and you've never been in a public high school setting and you just got your teaching certificate and you're really good with these skills that we're describing. Someone hires you and you get put into a public high school class and you really have never had any experience. Wow. Now, I probably jumped ahead of myself because you student taught somewhere along the way. So you're getting it, you're getting a clue, but like that student teaching experience is really overwhelming a lot of times. I want to say most of the time. I want to say almost every time for those who have never had it. So when we talk about being, that's part of what we have said yes to. We have said yes to kids who are motivated, and we have said yes to kids who are unmotivated. And we can get into, are these kids just trying to please? And are these kids just lazy? Or is there something else going on? Mm-hmm. Are these kids like totally interested in what we're doing? Because if so, I want to keep feeding them as much as I possibly can. So, what a dynamic we are.
Yeah, for sure. And my message to kids who are almost adults and they're becoming aware of that dynamic is everywhere I've ever been, that's the way the room looks. It's not like you don't get to graduate and go somewhere where lazy people don't exist. You don't get to graduate and go work at some place where there's not a loudmouth in the room that just covers up every conversation. You don't get to go somewhere and work where there's not a bully. You don't. Every room I've ever been in, private sector, in the police world, everywhere I go.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in that.
I remember I used to think in PE class in high school, there'd be dudes just acting a fool. You know how a PE locker room could be. I remember thinking, God, I cannot wait to get out of high school and get away from these fools. And I learned pretty quick, those fools graduate too, and they go to work too. So what skills do I have? I said to a kid today.
Do they work for the police?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they work for the police. They work in the public school. They work in the hospital. They work in everywhere. Yep. But I said to a kid today, we talk about this stuff as if it comes out of a textbook, and it's easy when we're sitting in conversation about it. Anybody can display pretty good skills. And this is the kid that came to me for a rescue. It's when it's tough, I need you to still keep that in your mind, that this is a skill and I can control my attitude toward it and my response to it when it's hard. Like, that's what extraordinary people do. That's what just any average Joe can do it when everything's going great. But when it's hard, that's when you grow. That's when you can make mistakes. You can learn. You can talk it out with that person. They have a perspective on this. They may tell you why they don't want to walk 8,000 steps. And maybe you'll meet them in the middle somewhere and you can both move along.
Okay, so here's breakout games.
Breakout games.
You want to go to kidnapping? See if you can escape in 60 minutes? First thoughts, come on.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a plug for Brother Ben and Tanner. How about Mystery Mansion?
All of I'll do whatever you want.
No, I
Derek
want
Fraser
you.
told me here a while back about one he and his students went to, and they got put in jail.
Yeah.
So they had to break out of jail.
There's a really fun one. This isn't a breakout, so sorry, Ben. But down at the Choo Choo, they've got one in the train.
That's cool.
It is a cool one. That's double date night, buddy. Clue. Like they've taken the game that we grew up with and turned it into an escape room. It's pretty cool. Bomb Squad. There you go. Criminal Justice Field Trip.
Yeah.
Island Escape. You're the only ones left on the island. Kidnapping 2. Now, the very first one that I ever did, and this was years ago. I mean, I don't know how long it's been doing this, but 10 years maybe. I went to kidnapping. I mean, like, you're turning the lights off. You're getting handcuffed to a bed. Yeah. I mean, eventually you can turn some lights on. You find flashlights, but, like, you're starting in the dark. It's like, what is going on here? And now there's a Kidnapping 2. I haven't done Kidnapping 2. I think I've done everything else. Museum Heist. It's a fun one. Operation Casino. Another good one. So.
It's pretty cool.
So that's down in Chattanooga.
I need to try one day. Val's done one before with some girlfriends.
She wouldn't have fun without you?
I need to go and do that. Yeah, she's allowed to do that.
Okay. That's nice of you.
Well, man, I just wanted to give you a rundown of
yeah, it's good, man.
a little recent thing we did and include those SkillsUSA framework. Please make me a promise. Will you, in our next couple of conversations, will you bundle up this local history, the guest speakers mainly? Can we just have a conversation where we only talk about that?
I feel like I've been doing that for like the run up to all of this.
You're touching here, you're touching there.
Yeah.
But can you just walk me through all the way from the mayor through whoever your last guest was and give us some specifics. Give us some, hey, this is what they're talking about. This is what the students found interesting. This is, whatever that is.
The way they played off of each other.
Yeah.
The way that when I mention certain things, a certain person will mention something else, and then that name comes up, and it's funny how they will choose to say something or choose not to say something, and it's my job to read the room and go, that's probably going to be a necessary thing that we need to hear.
Yeah.
So I raise my hand. Or I get corrected. Commissioner Collins, I had asked something about, when our housing, hey, we got it assessed by the assessor, and now my house is worth more. Okay, if I sell it, but I ain't selling it anytime soon. But like, now that it's worth more, I'm paying more taxes. Is that true?
Yeah, I would say so.
It's not.
Really?
It's not.
How?
There is this thing built in within the law that it doesn't. So like we were paying $1.37.
Yeah.
And now it's 99 cents per 1,000. So yeah, that's what I did.
Wow.
And so it was just like, man, I learned about, okay, I'll bundle it and I'll tell you what I've learned.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't even be what kids have learned. It's what I've learned. I mean, like,
Yeah, I like that.
every person that's come in, I've gone, a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, even old brother Bill, I mean, like, I didn't know Estes when he was in college. Man, he went to the jail and taught adult education algebra. I mean, like, what? You've never told me that story. I mean, we've been hanging out for, 30 years.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, it was just, it was just something I knew I could do. I was willing to do, and I did.
Right.
And it was my first glimpse of discovering that, you know what, I could be a teacher. And then Cliff Schimmels looked at him and said, you're a teacher. It's like, I guess so. So no longer being an engineer. So it's stuff like that, yeah.
So next week?
Maybe the week after.
Okay.
Yeah.
John Burroughs hit me up this morning and said he and Harner would take us disc golfing. So
He told me.
we'll figure that out coming up soon.
And I did walk 2 hours with Aaron Hayes, just so you know, last night.
Oh, we're going to have to pause and take a break. We're coming back.
No, we're not. No, we're not. I'm going home.
Paul,
I am
you
going
can't
home.
drop that on me at
It's
the end.
Yes, that's not
All
even.
right.
No, no. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We got a lot to talk about next week.
Great
so
transition.
Come back and see us.